From Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
On News Hour tonight, bandits abduct 24 worshippers in Giwa Mosque, carting away animals and valuables. Adamawa House of Assembly introduces mandatory drug tests for students and political office seekers. Lagos BRT driver remanded in custody for 30 days. And on the foreign scene, EU leaders to boost Ukraine military aid, bolster bloc's defenses. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Hour. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Now the news in full. Bandits abduct at least 24 people, carting away an unspecified number of cattle at Tudung Amada village in Giwa local government area Thursday evening. The armed men invaded the area while residents were observing evening prayer in a mosque. The bandits have been attempting to attack the village, but the resistance from members of the vigilante group in the area scuttled the plans. An eyewitness account indicates the bandits surrounded the mosque before abducting 14 people. The gunmen reportedly divided themselves, operating at the mosque and moving house to house, abducting women and animals. Reports, however, indicate that 4 people have regained freedom when they ran away from their captors. When contacted, Kaduna State Police Command's Public Relations Officer Muhammad Jaligi could not confirm the incident. And operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, have intercepted 3 million capsules of opioids at Jalith Bonded Container Terminal under Tinkan Seaport in Apapa area of Lagos. In a statement issued by Director Media and Advocacy of the agency, Femi Babafemi, the seizure of 3 million capsules of tapentadol and carisoprodol weighing 1,500 kilograms on Monday, 7th March 2022, followed a similar operation in which anti-narcotic officers of the agency also intercepted 8,613 kilograms of loud cannabis smuggled in from Ghana through the waterways at the Eco Atlantic Beach in Victoria Island of Lagos. According to Babafemi, the seized drugs at the bonded terminal were discovered during a joint examination of a 20-foot container with men of the Nigeria Customs Service. He added that though the consignment was said to have originated from Ningbo province in China and falsely labeled as containing 271 packages of insulating fittings, faucet water closet and industrial office printing machine, investigations revealed that information on the bill of lading and shipping documents were fake. Some drivers and their assistants who were on ground to load the shipment into their vehicles were promptly arrested, while 2 trucks, a Sienna Space Bus, Peugeot Boxer bus and a Toyota Camry car were seized from them. Meanwhile, Adamawa State House of Assembly is considering a piece of legislation that could subject all job seekers, applicants for political appointment and students seeking admission into tertiary institutions of learning in the state to undergo mandatory drug test. Deputy Speaker of the State Assembly at the opening of the public hearing on the draft legislation said the imperative of controlling the adverse effect of drugs and other illicit substance abuse on the society informed consideration for a legislative backing to strengthen the fight against drug abuse. The report.
Gathered here at this committee room in the Adamawa State House of Assembly complex are persons and agents of the state in the front lines of the anti-drug campaign to consider a piece of legislation. Some of those present here say is the game changer in the anti-drug war. This draft bill for a law to provide for mandatory drug and other illicit substance testing for applicants for appointment, employment, and admission into state public and educational institutions, and to provide for other matters incidental thereto at its formative stages, will make it mandatory for drug tests to be conducted for all job seekers, applicants for political appointment, and students seeking admissions into any tertiary institutions of learning in Adamawa State.
The problem is not only limited to our schools. What is happening in our government institution is better imagined than real. Drugs and illicit substance abuse has become a fashion amongst public and civil servants. The bill is therefore a deliberate effort by the sponsor and the honorable members to curtail the trend by nipping the problem in bud through legislation. We acknowledge therefore the National Drugs Law Enforcement Agency in fight against drugs abuse, but it's our conviction that the fight is for everybody. Hence, this bill. I therefore urge you to be frank, meticulous, and free in your submissions.
Drugs and some illicit drugs is a problem to our own community, our society in general. So we believe maybe by enacting this law, we'll reduce some crime in our society. Robbery, kidnapping, roaming about, school dropout and all that thing. It will reduce to our own understanding. Because once you have this, we have this law, one, before you be employed, you must be tested. If you are sure you are a student, you are schooling, you'll be afraid to take drugs because you know once you finish this school, you need employment. If you want to be employed, if they tested you positive, maybe you cannot get it.
An abuse of drugs, I think, is the major problem in the whole world now, not even Nigeria or Adamawa, the whole world as a whole. And the control of drugs is paramount. It's very important because there is a saying that youth are the leaders tomorrow. But with this development of drug abuse, the chances of them to be leaders tomorrow is blinking.
Now to judicial matters, where Yaba Chief Magistrate Court on Friday remanded a BRT driver, Andrew Nice, for 30 days over his alleged involvement in the death of his passenger, Oluwabamiche Ayangwoli. The court made the order following an application by the police. Police counsel Yetunde Cardoso, who filed the application based on a 4-count charge of alleged murder, sexual assault, misconduct and interference with a corpse. Last Monday, Bamiche, 22, was found dead on Carter Bridge, Lagos Island, 9 days after being declared missing after she boarded the BRT bus.
March, like I said earlier, we got the message on Sunday. A family meeting was going on when we got the message. So we had to rush down to a meeting, like I said earlier, to do a confirmation. And on getting there, we were told that she was dropped by the bridge. They call it Ogogoro community. That was where she was dropped. According to what we had, we were told that she was dropped on the 26th. And the police found out around past 10 p.m. But the body was conveyed to the morgue on the 27th.
And the rejection of gender bills by the National Assembly continues to generate debate on women's political participation in Nigeria. Currently, only 7 out of 109 senators and 22 of the 360 House of Representative members are women. In an interview, member representing Damaturu Gujiba Gulani and Turumawa Federal Constituency in Yobe State, Khadija Ibrahim, is advocating for measures to boost women's representation in Parliament. The report.
This has been the case since constitutional amendments started at the inception of democracy. Any clause that comes in for women has been quashed by the majority of men in the Senate and in the House of Representatives. Now, we need more sensitization on this issue. We need more people to come in and vocally speak on our behalf, not including just women, but men, he for she, men that consider women as equally important as men and also who have confidence in women.
Since the inception of democracy, Nigeria has been recording low participation of women in both elective and appointive positions. This is a growing concern to many, especially the women folk. In the National Assembly, women constitute 5.6% of members of the House of Representatives and 6.5% of the senators. Representative Khadija explains the lack of representation, why it matters, and how to remedy it.
Where I come from, in the Northeast, where a woman should be seen, not heard, but unfortunately for us, we're progressing, and we have the support of some of our male folk who are eager to see that our political career is sustained regardless because of the relationship we have with the people from the grassroots, because we have their very interest at heart, always, offering ourselves for assistance or for guidance, and being the voice of the voiceless and the hope of the common man.
Since 2006, Nigeria's national gender policy highlights women's right to equality in economic, social and political life, with provisions to increase women in elected and appointed positions to 35%, but that hasn't happened. The three-time member of the House of Representatives believes that being a woman in political authority entails working at the grassroots as partners in progress.
We have to be our brother's keepers. We need to stand up for women folk other than ourselves. We need to disregard any pull-me-down syndromes as far as gender is concerned, especially when a woman and woman are concerned. Some women I find that I've spoken to are more comfortable being around men environment than they are with the women. But why is that? Because they haven't fared well with their women folk. So we need to repair our own house before we get the respect we need from the men.
While encouraging women in politics not to give up in their political ambitions, the lawmaker is hopeful that not just parliament, but all levels of government need to adopt affirmative action measures and amend the internal rules to give preference to women in governance.
There are a lot of challenges involved. Of course, the people are the major factor because they choose their candidates, and a lot of things come up against you when you're vying for a political position. Like where I am in the north, culturally, women should be seen, not heard. Religiously, women should be seen, not heard. But it has changed. We have seen Benazir Bhutto do it in Pakistan. It's a predominantly Muslim Islamic country, but she was able to, come to the leadership position. But unfortunately, it was short-lived. But at least she proved her point, And coming back, to Nigeria, we have people like the likes of Hirat Godobi, who also, was from a Muslim background, but she also contested and won her election, But so basically, what I'm trying to say is that I think that if there is the will, there is the way.
She advised relevant stakeholders to advocate for the protection of women from abuse, empower them economically and politically, and also review the necessary legislations to accommodate the growing interest of women in politics, both elective and appointive positions.
All Progressives Congress, APC, has dismissed a letter written to it by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, on the need to give the Commission a 21-day notice for its national convention slated for March 26. Spokesman of the party's caretaker extraordinary convention planning committee, Ismaila Ahmed, stated this at a news conference on Friday in Abuja. He said the party had earlier intimated the Commission of its intent to conduct its national convention on February 26th, and that what is now required for its new date of March 26th is simply a notice of an adjustment and not a fresh 21-day notice. Earlier, INEC rejected a letter inviting it to an emergency meeting of the National Executive Committee of the ruling party, where Bello's chairmanship, among other things, is to be ratified. The Commission said the letter is not signed by Buni and the National Secretary, respectively, contrary to provision of Article 1.1.3 of the Commission's Regulations and Guidelines for Political Party Operations 2018. Still talking politics, Alliance of Northern Progressive Youth is throwing its weight behind the aspiration of Senator Umar Tanko Almakura for national chairman of the ruling All Progressives Congress in the forthcoming Congress of the Convention slated for March 26. Director, Gender and Governance of the Alliance, Amina Wakawa, told press conference in Abuja that Almakura has played a key role in the negotiations leading to the merger that produced APC in 2013. President Muhammadu Buhari has reportedly endorsed the aspiration of former governor of Nasarawa State, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, to lead the party. But this group believes that with Almakura at the helm, affairs of the APC is poised to consolidate its grip on the power and to sustain all development initiatives achieved by President Muhammadu Buhari. The alliance admonished the leadership of the party to avoid imposition of any candidate in the name of consensus or alleged presidential endorsement. Amina also called on the party not to entrust the leadership of the party in the hands of those who fought democracy and the party during its formative days in the country. The alliance also warned that by the time the leadership of the ruling party imposed a leader that is not a popular choice, they will show the party that youth are ready to take over. Meanwhile, a group of local government and primary school retirees in Delta State staged a peaceful protest demanding payment of their retirement benefits. Speaking to newsmen in Asaba, the protesters said that their terminal benefits accrued since 2014 has not been paid till date. The report.
Their demands are that the monthly allocation to the Bureau of Local Government be increased from 300 million naira to 2 billion naira, declare a state of emergency on pension payment for local government and primary school retirees, among others.
We use 35 years of our youthful age to serve the government. Now after retirement, they just dump us as if we were dismissed from the work. We are retired 2017. Today I came here, I slum here. For you to believe that I slum, look at my knees.
Please, excuse me.
Are you seeing?
I want to
because of the tension I have been going through. So you people to help us people to cover, to pay us.
As I'm talking to you, 63 of the retirees has died in Warri South. Yesterday, one died again. So I want you to understand the pain the retirees are going through. Most cannot pay their house rent, some cannot feed, many cannot buy their medications. So we have been coming here. This is the 4th time we are coming to negotiate with the governor of Delta State.
How many years would they use to pay the backlogs of arrears of pension? No pension, no gratuity, nothing at all. It's 80 years.
In a swift response, the secretary to the Delta State government, Patrick Uka, said although the issue should have been handled by the Joint Allocation Committee, the state government is committed to resolving the issue that has lingered from previous administration.
Those who came out this afternoon to vent their anger for retirees' benefits are basically those of the local government and primary school teachers. And this is purely the issue that is within the purview of the JAC, which is the Joint Local Government Committee, where they discuss their share of the FAC. And His Excellency has promised that he will speak with them and see how they can make efforts to increase it.
And Governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde, has handed the staff of office to Oba Lekan Balogun as the 42nd Olubadan of Ibadan. The governor handed the staff of office to the 42nd Olubadan on Friday during the new monarch's coronation ceremony held in Ibadan, Oyo State. The Vice President, Yemi Osibanjo, and former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, governors, traditional rulers, and diplomats graced the event. People living with disabilities, extremely poor families, and other vulnerable groups, as well as women and children, will soon have a cause to smile in Katsina State. This is if the state development plan is implemented to guide political actors to improve the quality of lives of the ordinary people of the state. Abdullahi Yamadi completes the report.
The State Development Plan, which is a process that kick-started since 2020, is at its final stage of completion with the review and validation of the document this Thursday in Katsina. Similarly, the plan will, among other things, address the issue of exclusion in governance and other economic and social sectors to provide equal opportunities for people living with disabilities, remove the economic barriers existing between the rich and the poor, and address inequality.
And the plan will definitely go a long way in ensuring sustainable development in the state. Particularly, it's trying to look at 4 critical areas of the state, which is looking at the governance structures, looking at human development, looking at environmental development, and of course human capital development. I think I've mentioned that. So we hope at the end of the day this plan will serve the people of Katsina. It will help the state to think around deep potentials that they have.
Other issues the development plan intends to achieve is to reduce maternal mortality, effect of child killer diseases, mitigate climate change, water supply and other critical sectors of human endeavor.
This plan is going to go deep to look at those people that are extremely poor and vulnerable, and particularly women and children. So the plan is designed in a way to look at whether the exclusion issues in the state, why do we have some of the poverty issues, why are women excluded in certain areas, even in governance. So it has a very deep understanding of different issues.
The document is also expected to be a human rights-based risk-informed development plan consistent with the Economic Recovery Growth Vision 2030. According to some critical stakeholders, the plan will ensure coherent design of public policy and implementation for equitable socio-economic and sustainable development. Katsina State, which has a population of 10 million people in 2020, mostly in rural areas, are expected to be captured in all the economic plans and future budgets by activating health services, the economy, and social protection sectors.
Local governments in every sector have a vital role to play. They are very strategic because virtually all the population of not only Katsina State but of Nigeria resides in one local government or the other, and so their position is very vital and very key. Looking at the content of the development plan, one will see that this is going to be a major overhaul of the socio-economic well-being of the people of Katsina State.
When fully implemented, the state development plan will also check the rural-urban drift and the issue bordering on almajiris as well as street begging, among others.
I wish to assure the teeming good people of Katsina State that this development plan is going to be of immense importance to them, because it is primarily designed to cater for the well-being of the less privileged and the vulnerable people of the society.
It could be recalled that Katsina State government, with the support of UNICEF, launched the process, inaugurated a steering committee and technical working group for the production of the state development plan document in December 2020. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
Former military head of state Yakubu Gowon urged Plateau State Governor Simon Lalong to complete infrastructural projects in the state for the benefit of the people. Gowon made a call on Friday in Jos, the Plateau State capital, at the flag-off of the construction of interchange flyover at British America Junction and dualization from the junction to Lamingo Junction roundabout. The project, estimated to cost of 9.9 billion naira, covers 1.7 kilometer road with a 12-month completion period. Speaking at the ceremony, the former head of state said completion of either abandoned or inherited projects across the state would equally give the next administration a sound footing to begin with.
We have heard the litany of what the governor had done in this state, and also what we've heard from the Commissioner of Works here in Plateau State, and of course what we've heard from the chairman, of the Greenlight company, construction company. I think honestly we have really been impressed with what we have heard and seen. Well, I have been a witness to a number of things that His Excellency has done, the completion of many projects, abandoned projects, or uncompleted projects in the state. I have seen them and I have been very impressed.
In our efforts to consolidate on achievements in road infrastructure, the total sum of 12 billion naira has so far been expended by our administration on payment of outstanding costs of projects unfinished by the previous administration, and billions of naira on numerous projects awarded by our rescue administration. This includes payment on some projects which were not completed but hurriedly commissioned at the twilight of the previous administration. Some of the numerous uncompleted projects hurriedly commissioned by the administration, for which this administration had to bear the burden of paying the contractors to complete, include the old airport railfield Buku with spur to Chong, dualization of Bukur Kugia Rahul Kanang with spurs, dualization of Lamingo to June, the new government house infrastructure, Bisichi Korot Mango Hale, and spurs to make sure that
even as the ceremony was going on, work was equally going on the side, and the work continues even after the ceremony. This project is given a 12-month completion period, and since the beginning of the project, so many businesses have been lost and so many households will be lost to it, but the government has told the people that it's going to be at the long run for the good and for the good of the state. So people are expecting that the 12-month duration period, the work will be completed, and then all the benefits that are accompanying the road will be enjoyed by the people. For Trust TV News Just, this is Dixon Salami Adama reporting.
And Kwara State Government has assured residents of the state that all ongoing road projects will be completed on schedule, even as many are handled by local contractors. Commissioner for Works and Transport, Rotimi Ilyasu, gave the assurance after inspecting some of the road projects. The report.
Construction of road is being carried out in all the three senatorial districts of Kwara State in Ilorin, the state capital. Work is ongoing on the Tanke flyover bridge. For now, traffic to and for the University of Ilorin Road has been diverted to allow for concentration on the bridge.
We do challenge contractors on quality of work that are being done. Like today I was here and I saw a portion that I saw soaked, and I'm like, no, you cannot, grade here. You have to allow the water out first, then also the quality of material, because we want to make sure whatever we do, people in the next 10-20 years, they are still proud that yes, we have this government and they've done well. That is where they will also pick up from. So if our contractors are not doing well, we challenge them. There is no way for them to hide. We will always challenge.
Also in Tanke, the government has commenced the construction of 1.85-kilometer Tanke-Okeodu Ring Road, which is expected to ease the transportation problem of the residents, the adjoining villages, who are mostly students.
The road is very bad, dusty. It affects our goods in the shop. That most time we have to clean the shop over and over again. And again, due to and also my health, because I wasn't planning to live here, but my auntie was like, I should just have faith that they repair the road. We are grateful. The dust has reduced. We're also grateful that everything is moving fine now. And to also develop this area, because most of my friends staying in this area and the hostel, they have to move down to another place. So I think this road, them repairing this road, will bring more development to this area. So we are grateful, and God bless our able governor.
So we are very appreciate our Kwara State government, particularly our humble governor, Abdurrahman Abdurrazak, for this development. We are very, very happy, and we pray for him that God will help him to do many more. This road, we have been crying for this road for many years, but now that Abdurrahman Abdurrazak entered the government, so he listened to us. So that's why we are appreciating him.
Work is equally ongoing on the 4.8-kilometer Yebumut Adeta Oloje Road, which is a single line, but government is upgrading it to a dual carriageway.
Yes, so this project was awarded by the Kwara State government. The project begins at Yebumut, comes to Alikma University, comes to Adeta roundabout, and finishes up at Oloje. The distance is about 4.8 kilometers, approximately 5 kilometers. We've been contracted to dualize the road and to put in a well-functioning drainage system on the road as well. Well, the project, the contract is approximately 1.6 billion naira. The duration of the project is 10 months, and as of now, everything is going to plan, and we're sure to finish at that particular time. So far, the community has been very welcoming. They've been understanding. We've had no problems at all, no challenge. The quality of the project is going to be well done. It's going to stand the test of time. And you come back here 10 years, 20 years from now, you see this project.
The government assures that it will not allow substandard work by any contractors across the state.
You're watching Trust TV News Hour. Coming up after the break, bread and noodles may be out of reach. This and more after the break. Do stay with us.
The idea was to give the interim government confidence that there is somebody, a military man, who is well known, who can be accepted.
You alluded to the case of your son, Umar Farouk. Are you in touch with him?
Yes, he phones us 2 times, sometimes 3 times in a month.
As always, when I'm talking about late Abiola, I still thank my God for directing me on things to do when he gave me that leadership of this country.
Many of you honest Fulanis, you allow this man to cast aspersion on you.
You know, Zamfara is the mother of all bandits.
The biggest problem, if you permit me, is the fact that we have not been able to get the totality of our citizenry.
It's very, very difficult to have a fixed mind like that this one you will hand over to this person because you think he will do better.
I don't see myself under no circumstance ever leaving APC for another political party.
Now, here on the Mambila Plateau, and this is where the hydroelectric power dam is supposed to be constructed.
Most people in Nigeria are ignorant of the fact that employing a child as a maid is in fact against the law.
Access to the textile mill has been very difficult.
I believe, or I think that if you want to make money, it should be in a place where there are not plenty of people that can do what you do.
From the way things are happening now, I don't think the two parties will make any impact.
I've been talking about the updates concerning the campaign of Nigerian Super Eagles in Abuja.
Bola Tinubu has informed President Muhammadu Buhari of his ambition to contest for the position of president.
To be self-reliant, a blind man defies all odds to become a carpenter in Gombe State.
The country is now experiencing a 4th wave of the COVID-19 pandemic with the emergence of the Omicron variant.
Welcome back, and if you're just joining us, you're watching Trust TV News Hour. Now look at our top stories. Bandits abduct at least 24 people, carting away an unspecified number of cattle at Tudung Amada village in Giwa local government area on Thursday evening. And Adamawa State House of Assembly is considering a piece of legislation that will subject all job seekers, applicants for political appointment, and students seeking admission into tertiary institutions in the state to undergo mandatory drug test. And moving on to other stories now, Planned Parenthood Federation of Nigeria is training frontline health workers on COVID-19 vaccines and value-based communication to ensure immunization against the pandemic. Health workers attending the training are drawn from the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. The report.
The training is to enlighten health workers to help address the gap in COVID-19 vaccination. Nafisa Adamu from the Planned Parenthood Federation believes health workers could serve as links between communities and the government. She said the training will equip them address COVID-19 hesitancy.
The number of people taking up the vaccines and then there was an assessment that was carried out, and then the number of people we saw from facilities taking up the vaccine, knowing that people will go to the facilities or will go to the health workers to take these vaccines, and then the hesitancy we noticed from that make us now come up with this training so that we enlighten and then try to close the gap for whichever reason that people are not taking some of these vaccines. For me, I think it's really for the masses, because whatever it is in the health industry, the government normally come through the healthcare workers, and then for me, the community and the health workers, like is the community, the health workers are the link between the community and the government. So if you train the healthcare workers, definitely the community will now benefit from it. So that's one of the reasons, again, why this training is, for us, is very important.
We are training our primary healthcare workers, and we're building their capacity, and we're going to be supporting them with also materials after building their capacity. We're going to be supporting them with job aids, with SOPs, that's standards operating procedures. We're going to be supporting them with IEC materials, to aid the quality of service they give in COVID-19 vaccination. We're also going to be supporting with some other cold chain equipment, like the vaccine carriers, like thermometers, and AD syringe, and several other things that will just aid them in the work they are doing.
Some of the health workers at the training also speak.
The training is very, very interesting. I'm very happy because this training updated me on this issue of this COVID-19. People are saying many things about the COVID-19. When I attend this training, it's updating me on more knowledge about the COVID-19.
So far, so good. In fact, it was very, very interesting. In fact, we started it yesterday. It makes me to know more about COVID-19 vaccine, because there were rumors about it and a misconception about the vaccine. But from yesterday up to today, I'm able to know the importance of taking this vaccine.
This training is a training that is right on time, because it's actually going to improve our practices on the COVID-19 vaccinations and what to tell the people about COVID-19 vaccinations.
The training will be replicated in Kano and Kaduna State.
The ongoing Russia-Ukraine war in faraway Europe is taking its toll on non-combatants in Gombe State, northeast Nigeria, as people now pay more for bread and noodles, common on family menus. Russia and Ukraine account for 25% of wheat production globally. Bakers say disruption in supply of wheat is responsible for hike in prices. The report.
Bread is one of the most consumed food in Nigeria, and one of its ingredients is flour, which is being produced from wheat. Bakers said they are now battling hiking prices of flour, which is affecting their businesses. With the current crisis between Russia and Ukraine, analysts predicted more increase in prices of bread and noodles. Bread bakers are likely to pay more for raw materials.
And the price of flour has increased, let's say at least with 2 to 5% as we used to buy it before. And the price of sugar also increased with 2 to 3% as the price we used to buy the sugar before. And also the rest of the commodity, they have changed their prices, but yet now we are not changing we did not change our price for that we used to sell our bread.
Tea and bread vendors, popularly known as Meshayi, are now paying more for bread and noodles. Some of them said a bread costing 300 naira before now sells 400 naira. We used to buy a sachet of noodles at 100 naira and sell 120, but now we buy it at 120 and sell 170 naira. They normally supply bread costing 200 naira, and now they supply those costing 150 and that of 300 naira. The difference in price has affected our business. We aren't making profit like before. A consumer also shares his experience. Bread is expensive, and it is not from the vendors. It is the hike in price of flour, A bread that cost 100 naira before is now 200, and that of 200 is now 350 naira. According to the United States Department of Agriculture, Russia and Ukraine account for 23% of the global wheat market, worth 206.9 million metric tons in 2021.
And when the price of flour in market change, we must increase our prices of bread, due to the fact that when we buy flour, now we are using Mama Gold in our production. Before we are buying Mama Gold as 21,000, and now we are buying Mama Gold as 22,500 naira. But when the crisis continue, unfortunately, I'm sorry to say, but Mama Gold flour will reach at least not less than 23,000, and all the rest of the flour like IRS, we used to buy IRS at the rate of 20,000, 19,500 naira, 20,000, but now we used to buy IRS at the rate of 21,500 naira.
Prices of noodles, spaghetti and bread are expected to record increase as the war between Ukraine and Russia continues. From Gombe, Ibrahim Ismail reporting for Trust TV.
Elsewhere in Kaduna, bakers say that they are facing persistent increase in the prices of flour. Local tea sellers reflect price increase in their services they offer. And many finger Russia-Ukraine war as a major factor responsible for the short supply of flour in the market. The report.
Muhammad Al-Hassan is a tea seller at Tudunwada, Kaduna. According to him, he spent years in the business, but the recent increases in price of bread is alarming.
Honestly, there is persistent increase on the price of bread. In the past, we used to buy bread at the cost of 160, 170, 180, but now we buy it at 230 naira or 240, and many people have to leave tea selling business.
Al-Hassan says maximizing profit is challenging, so they only count litre gain from the tea selling business.
These days, the price skyrocketed again because we sell at the rate we buy from bakeries. We don't gain from the bread, but from the tea. Price of sugar has gone up also, and our customers lament all the time that the price is too cost.
Gaskiya suna koka to amma bu hakuri muke ba su kasan yanayin ka da customer in ka zauna da shi dole kai mai ba shi hakuri ne a kowanne hali kake cikin kasuwancin ka.
A visit to a bakery and confectionery at Tudunwada, Kaduna gives the same story with the tea seller as they complain over uncertainty of stability in the price of flour.
Yes, flour has increased. The way we buy it before is different. Every day we go to the market, yesterday's price is different from today's price, and that is how the something keeps going. It has started affecting our businesses because most of the flour millers, they've stopped production due to there is no wheat. Ukraine/Russia war has really affected our businesses due to there is no wheat on ground, so no production.
Russia is believed to be largest producers of wheat in the world, and if its war with Ukraine persists, locals here may have to continue to pay more to eat bread. According to Bilkis Abdul Karim, the war will negatively affect importation of wheat widely used for production of wide a range of food. She called on the government to arrest the situation as the price of flour keeps skyrocketing every day.
I'm using this opportunity to call on government and stakeholders to please address the issue at hand in time, because as it is going, it can affect our businesses, and we don't know when the war is going to end. We are finding it difficult to maximize our profits due to the increase in flour price. And if they didn't do something in time, it can even force most of the flour millers out of the markets.
She believes Nigeria may have learned lessons from the war and will invest in massive wheat production for self-sufficiency.
And still talking the Russia-Ukraine crisis, which may have immediate adverse effects on the two countries, but nations relying on some supplies from the two crisis countries may also suffer. Russia is a major exporter of wheat in the world, and Nigerians' love for bread knows no bounds. Abubakar Abdullahi speaks with some bakery managers and tea vendors in Lafia, the Nasarawa state capital, on the implications of the war for bread and noodle consumers. His report.
Russia continued invasion of Ukraine. People across the globe are lamenting on the effect of the two European nations' crisis. Like other parts of the world, in Nigeria, consumption of flour products is high. Russia is cultivating large quantity of wheat in the world for the production of flour, and there is likelihood that if the world community fail to find lasting solution to the crisis, it may negatively affect consumers of flour products such as bread and noodles. Managers of some bakeries who spoke with Trust TV expressed fear that even before the commencement of the war, the price of flour is high, and allowing the war without solution will worsen the situation.
We are buying flour 20,200, but now as I speak to you, flour has added another 1,000 something. That means we are buying 21,300 or thereabouts. Depends the product of that flour. Everything has highly skyrocketed already. As I mentioned earlier, flour has shoot up to 1,000 something, close to 2,000 naira addition. Yeast has shoot up to, the made increment of yeast up to 1,000 something. Dynamil we use has increased up to 1,000 something. Everybody knew that Russians and Ukrainians are the suppliers of grains in the whole world. They are the major suppliers of grains and gas in the whole world. As long as these two countries are in conflict, is going to affect every commodities in Nigeria. The
price of flour varies from 22,000 naira to 22,500 naira and 21,500, depending on the company.
Wataran ma fulawan ma ko mutuna katse muna sai mun tsaya ma mun yi booking wataran ma ba ma samun yin aiki dalili rashin ita wannan fulawa din kuma duk wannan abin shine yake jawo.
Tea vendors on their part says the brunt of any negative consequences will mostly affect them, as they are the ones dealing with end users of the product.
Actually, the prices of noodle and flour have rapidly increased. Conflict between Russia and Ukraine. It has actually affected our capital inflow as well as our working capital as well. This is an external factor. It's something that I have no control over it. Actually, I have no control over it. Remember that Ukraine and Russia are the major suppliers of wheat. Wheat are some of the raw material used in producing flour, which are also used to convert it and make bread. So actually, when if this conflict continues, actually it will affect us, and we have no control over it.
Authorities should intervene in order to see the end of this crisis. They all call on the world community to join hands in finding lasting solutions to the Russia invasion of Ukraine.
So let the whole world join hands together to make peace, to create peace, to do whatever thing that is available, to use any other means available to make peace between these two countries so that it will not result to third war.
Ya kamata a ce kasashen duniya manya-manya ya kamata a ce sun hankalta sun lura cewa bai kamata a ce su bari suna wannan faɗan ba, saboda abu ne wanda zai iya shafa al'umma, kuma abu in ya kasance cewa ana amfani da shi ba ruwa ne da musulmi ko kirista, ya haɗe kowa da kowa ne, ko da ko baka da addini. don haka ya kamata a ce kasashen duniya sun tsaya sun yi nazari sun yi tunanin cewa ya kamata a tsayar da wannan faɗan. Ko ba komai su al'ummar Ukraine suna cikin wata matsala saboda su
side has to come together, has to be on a round table in order to look at the both sides and drop their arms, so that at least the common man, especially Nigerian, they are relying solely on the raw materials from Ukraine. We have
ya kamata hukumomi su tahi tsaye su sa baki don a kawo ƙarshen wannan rikici.
Abubakar Abdullahi, Trust TV News, Lafia.
Now, many Nigerians can no longer afford air travel due to increase of airfares brought about by the hike in price of jet fuel. If the price continues to soar, what could be the implication for the aviation industry? Chamun Dabeng answers this question.
The cost of A1 jet fuel has continued to soar exponentially. The recent price of 430 naira per litre as of Thursday skyrocketed to 580 naira per litre, with states like Kano buying for as much as 607 naira per litre. Oil marketers have also predicted that the cost, if left unchecked, may shift to 700 naira per litre.
From 190 gets to 360, 360 to 400, 415, and just a week ago the price jumped to over 500. And currently, yesterday, some of our colleagues in the industry were saying that they bought fuel at 670 per litre. And if you now equate that with your cost of operation, it makes no airline will be making profit right now. If it takes 40% before and you were charging 190 and now you are now paying 650, it's like 300% increase. So that will have a tremendous impact.
The hike in the price of aviation fuel triggered airlines to increase airfares by almost 100%. The recent development is stoking fears that prices will once again soar. How will this affect an industry that is struggling to recover from the effects of COVID-19?
It will slow down the growth of the industry. And except government intervene, there's little or nothing that the airline can do. Even at this price we are talking, I'm not too sure that the price have gone up to 100,000. I know that the price is 50. The lowest fare is 50, and I'm not too sure it has gone up to 100,000. And with that, whatever gain the airline might have made over the years within a short time, the industry is a very volatile industry because the profit margin itself is very small and the cost of operation is increasing by the day. The exchange rate is not also helping matter. Buying dollar, very expensive amount of money, and we charge customers in naira, and the spare parts are not bought in naira, bought in dollars. So it's going to have serious adverse effect, except something is done quickly. If it is not done within the next few weeks, most airlines will not be able to fly.
Amidst plans to launch the national carrier Air Nigeria, the current challenges and realities may hamper its successful takeoff.
People kept talking about removing the subsidy. The subsidy is to help the local airline to grow. If you look at the industry, basically Nigerian airline can't compete favorably with the other carriers, the international carrier, and we are at loss because it's capital flights to us. We don't take anything from them, and even the local carrier, if he's operating outside Nigeria, what will happen to him is that he have one short stop, just one stop. It's the same, it doesn't have what we call points beyond. It doesn't go point beyond. It takes a passenger from here, for instance, to London, and that same passenger is going to bring back, and that passenger is paying in naira. It's not having any corresponding income. That's why you're finding that most local carriers are struggling, in operating international flights. If you can remember, most local carriers that have ventured into international flight collapsed. That was because they were not able to fund the cost of operation. So the only thing that can be done is government to look at area, like in my personal opinion, this is my personal opinion, that the government, instead of venturing into airline business, government should look at a way of creating a neighboring environment for this local airline to grow.
Air Peace, Azman Air, United Nigeria Airline, Arik Air, Aero Contractors, and Max Air have announced an alliance called the Spring Alliance for mutual support and better services and navigate the challenges the industry is facing. Chamun Dabeng, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now a look at the foreign scene, where the European Union leaders meeting in France on Friday want to double finance for military aid to Ukraine by an extra €500 million, as Russia's war also spurred vows from the bloc to bolster its own defences. EU leaders gathering at the famed Versailles Palace in Paris described Moscow's attack on Ukraine as a wake-up call for the 27-nation bloc to take a more muscular approach to ensuring its security. The bloc's foreign policy chief, Joseph Borrell, said he expected the leaders to sign off a proposal to expand the spending package that has the bloc fund weapons going to Ukraine. The EU last month broke a long-standing taboo by agreeing to pay more arms deliveries to Ukraine after Russian President Vladimir Putin launched the invasion of his pro-Western neighbor. The move was part of a broad push by Ukraine's allies to send weapons amid desperate pleas from Kiev for more support to help it fight off the Kremlin's advancing forces. And in sports, organizers of the Ballon d'Or Award, France Football, have announced that the 2022 edition of the award ceremony will take place in October. According to a tweet, organizers of this is a break from the November and December period, which they usually hold the ceremony. They also announced a shift from the January to December calendar, a period during which the performance of footballers is viewed to determine nominees. According to them, the award will now be issued on the basis of performance of players during the classic football season, which is from August to July. And that wraps up Trust TV News Hour for tonight. Don't forget, you can subscribe and follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Thanks for joining us.